After achieving the highest weekly candle close Bitcoin has seen in over 2 years, will this upcoming week be the beginning of a massive dumpulation, or will it unleash the absolute biggest gainers that the Moon Boys have seen since the beginning of Earth itself, nearly 600 years ago? With Bitcoin putting in its highest weekly candle close, going all the way back to the end of 2021. Will this new week for Bitcoin in the stock market be another absolutely massively big, massively pumpy breakout week? Or in fact, is something much bigger on the way? So if you understand, it's not about the size of the bust, it's about how you use the bust. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, get signed up to Femex Blow if you want to buy Bitcoin or altcoins. Without any further ado, let's absolutely blow our minds once again with this absolutely insanely big price action for Bitcoin. On the weekly chart, if we go back all the way to December, first week of December 2021, you notice something big, I'm sure. Highest weekly candle close we've gotten since then. Literally weeks off of the all-time high for Bitcoin, for the cryptocurrency market. Can you believe this? Look at this. I mean, if you erase all of this price action here, Bitcoin is like, it's unbelievable how close we are now, how close we are to recapturing everything. This is the point where if you've been in the market and you kind of lost interest, say you even bought for the first time up here, so you kind of got banged a little bit. If this was like your first entry, absolutely, you're probably not still super pumped about Bitcoin, but this is the point where people that had any interest in crypto should be coming back now. However, we're not necessarily seeing, a massive amount of retail interest yet, but I think we're going to see this start piling back in. And more importantly, let's look at a few things before we continue on the charts. Last week had the largest weekly inflows into Bitcoin ETFs on record at almost 2.5 billion. This chart really speaks for itself. If we zoom in, look at this. Absolutely ridiculous. Massively big. The largest hourly Bitcoin outflow we also saw just a few hours ago in 2024 from Coinbase's Today, about almost 19,000 Bitcoin moved in 2 transactions at the same block. This would suggest Bitcoin is going into custody, potentially new addresses being created with large holdings. And also it's an internal wallet reorganization potentially. The first option implies institutions are buying Bitcoin. Most of the coins transferred had not been moved since 2018. So that's very interesting. I'm curious how that's going to impact price. This also is a chart by HODL 15 Capital showing the number of Bitcoin bought by the big 4 ETFs each week. 6,300 Bitcoin are mined weekly. And you can see, if we look at this chart, this red line is like how much is mined compared to how much massive amounts of Bitcoin has been bought just by the big 4 ETFs. So think about that. If these massive columns stopped right at this red line, then they would exactly be buying the supply. But none of these have stopped at exactly the red line, meaning they're buying much more than the supply that's being created. And as I said, Bitcoin closed the week at its highest price, going all the way back to the end of 2021, about 805 days. If we look at this chart here, Bitcoin is so close to its all-time highs. The last time Bitcoin was trading at this range, it barely spent any time here. I mean, you can even see right here, you see this kind of like head and shoulders pattern right here. This is the left shoulder, this is the shoulder, or the head, and this is the right shoulder. And then what happened? Last time we were right here, dump, massive bear market. So the last time we were at 52,000, it was a stretch. It took so much to get there. This time we're here and seemingly no one cares. There's no exhilaration or exuberance. Retail, as we've pointed out many times over the last week, according to a lot of metrics, retail in large part has not returned. There is not massive new search interest in Bitcoin. But this also, GBTC has $7 billion in outflows in the past 5 weeks. Wow, what a chart, Nate says. Outflows are clearly slowing. And if we look here, just more evidence. If you want the ETFs to just start sucking up as much Bitcoin as possible, then seeing this chart get diminished week after week is a very positive development. because these outflows directly negate some of the inflows. And if this continues to decrease here, then these inflows can make even more impact on Bitcoin's price, aka pumping the price up. Ted's saying that we're only just getting started. Persistent week-on-week liquidity inflows to crypto continue. You can see this liquidity here, and you can see how high it was in the run-up of the last bull market. You can see where it went negative here in the bear market. But yeah, absolutely massive metric to be watching out for. Bitcoin on all exchanges hit the lowest level since 2017, going back about 7 years. In connection with the increased demand by ETFs and the upcoming Bitcoin halving, there will simply be less coins in circulation. It's not priced in. The supply shock is real. I personally believe that we're going to be seeing the biggest supply shock in the history of Bitcoin here, and the Bitcoin ETFs are 1,000% going to be very responsible for this. The amount of liquidity or the amount of capital that's buying this Bitcoin is unlike anything we've ever seen. All this buying pressure. The crazy thing is that this pump we've seen up to about 52,000, retail is not doing that. Where in the past, basically every single pump we had ever with crypto was basically mostly retail. Every bull market in the past was majority not institutional money, right? This is the very first one where we're seeing institutional capital push Bitcoin to crazy heights, almost seemingly without trying. Imagine, if we get to 1 or 2% of BlackRock's entire portfolio into Bitcoin or something, it'll make even that incredibly low number would push Bitcoin to crazy valuations. The ETF effect, they keep buying, triggering two effects: pushing the price up in certain days, but also balancing normal pullbacks on the way up. So trading, leverage liquidations, retail selling because of being in profits. So just all of the normal, natural reasons we get pullbacks historically in the market. But the ETF is kind of negating a lot of this. They will keep buying hundreds of millions of dollars in Bitcoin per day, every day, Alessandro says on X. So that's absolutely crazy. Two main observations from Bitcoin order books. Bitcoin Munger says, current area is the sellers and the bears' last stand. We will pump very hard, he says, after the supply from about 53 to 55,000 is absorbed. Also coinciding with a short squeeze. But there's also a lot of sideline buyers who have bids at about 40,000 and below, and they will all be forced to bid higher. Especially if we just keep pushing up, right? If there's people in this market, which there are, there's people that are maybe waiting for a pullback to 35, 40K, 45K. Let's say they're waiting and then they watch the price go up to 50 like we are right now, but then up to 55 or even 60. Eventually they will be forced to buy back in if they want to participate. FOMO will take hold of most of those people, not necessarily everyone. Some people, maybe they won't even buy. If they really want to get in, but price just keeps going up too much, maybe they'll say, hey, I missed out. But most people are not going to say that. Most people are just going to buy higher, right? Once the FOMO kicks in, if you've been in a full 4-year bull cycle, you should know how psychology and FOMO really takes a hold of people when this thing really starts running, and we haven't started yet. What I'm trying to do, honestly, is even prepare myself to get ready again for what the real FOMO is, because even though I have basically everything I want in crypto, very happy with my position, everything, I've been bullish, I'm very, excited. If we go up to $150,000 per Bitcoin over the next 6 to 12 months or something like that, I'm exactly where I want to be to benefit from that. But even still, that feeling of FOMO will eat you up and it will still gnaw at you. And even if you're exactly perfectly positioned, there's, I think, a deep down a voice basically saying, there's always more you could have done. And when real FOMO kicks in, it's hard for even the best positioned people to fully be okay 100%. And most humans have emotion. And FOMO and these markets absolutely will drive people crazy and take everyone for a spin, basically. Bitcoin, if history repeats, the next bull market may peak in about 520 to 550 days after the halving, which puts it around mid-September to mid-October 2025. The main reason I highlight this is just simply because what we have seen so far, the pumping we've seen so far, is literally not the FOMO phase, not the crazy bull market that people have been telling you about what 2020 and 2021 and 2017 was like. we haven't experienced a true bull market this cycle yet, meaning it's still coming, meaning most of the gains are still coming. It's crazy to think about. It's absolutely crazy. 6 months from now, you're not going to have nearly the opportunity that you have if you're in the market right now. And so that's very exciting if you are in the market right now. And historically, the real bull market kicks off whenever Bitcoin breaks through the 0.618 Fibonacci. Is this time different? Well, if we look at this chart, that's basically, that's what we're doing right now. Are we about to start a crazy run right now? And so tomorrow we will be getting the stock market open. The SPX will absolutely be important. It will play an important role as always to see if Bitcoin's going to have much more resistance. For example, if the SPX trends the opposite direction, we're going to watch the DXY as well, which has been slowing down the last few weeks. Ultimately, I do want to point out again how the entire altcoin market looks very strong right now, breaking through its biggest resistance, also going all the way back to 2021. Just crazy. This so far, again, I can't understate this. So far, we haven't seen anything yet in terms of the real pumping. So it's just absolutely nuts. Basically, the chart that I showed, I believe from Charles B. Menger, the tweet a couple minutes ago, this is kind of this zone to where we break above this. There could be like a big liquidity trap, or basically a short squeeze in this area. Well, I mean, look at this. If you look at this daily chart, also if we look at the weekly chart, Bitcoin has pumped the last 2 weeks straight. So people are going to be looking for a short opportunity like they always do in the beginning of bull markets. But usually what happens is you just keep getting stopped out if you're going against the market, right? In a bear market, if you're longing every single dump in a bear market, usually that doesn't work out. Usually you just end up getting absolutely banged. And in a bull market, the same thing. If you're waiting for a massive drop for you to make massive gains on a short, usually that doesn't play out super well in a parabolic bull market. So it'll be interesting to see, especially as we enter this new week. Last week, we had a little bit of dumpiness, specifically because of CPI coming in a little hotter, right? And however, you look at Bitcoin, it just still went up. So we continue to get these massive inflows, then Bitcoin is likely to just keep going up. And get signed up to FEMEX below if you want to buy Bitcoin or altcoins. Without any further ado.